Welcome to Diaspora Lounge. Thank you for joining us again. Last weekend, talking about family estrangement when the family is separated from the father's family, where the children and the wife have no real connection to them. And somebody wanted to know, what can I do now? Because I'm separating from my husband, and these children have no connection to the dad and their family. And I know how important it is. And so we talked about that. And then we're continuing that conversation. When people have this situation, what are the real effects on the people involved? The children, when they grow up, what are the effects on them? How does this affect the family dynamics, and how does it affect life in general? Because some of the decisions that we take, we don't realize the long-term effects of these things. We don't realize how strongly they impact upon the people and their lives, or upon us and our lives, especially when we take decisions that involve children. So want to look into that today. I'm sorry that I jumped straight into the conversation without having any small chit chats with you. One of us has an appointment and needs to leave quickly, so let's get into it now. Thank you for
First
being
thing
here.
you want to do is to regain your power.
And it takes two to tango.
Oh my God, you need to see what she's going through. The husband broke her neck.
Okay, so I want us to deal with the direct question, the separation and the effects, separation from family members and the effects. So here is the situation that we want to deal with directly. In a situation where a couple is separated, that's different from the one of last weekend. This couple is separated, and the father had actually been the one that orchestrated this separation. He had done some things that really upset even the grown-up children, to the point where they decided that they were going to cut off from him because they felt that he had treated their mom unfairly. And then he's feeling like, well, at the end of the day, they're going to come back to me. When my daughter is going to get married, who's going to give her away at the altar? We're going to see how that goes. So sometimes something is happening in the children's lives and they want everyone to be there. But the man starts making demands, and the children as well, start making demands. You did this to our mom. We need you to apologize. We need you to straighten things up with her. And he refuses. And so this continues like that, back and forth, back and forth. Please, what comes to your mind quickly? How do you think that the future will look for a family like this? That if a man is speaking like this, when it's time for the daughter to get married, of course, every girl would like her dad to give her away in marriage. But if it comes to a point where the man is being difficult, especially when he is the one who created issues in the family and he refuses to, because of, it looks like he believes that no matter what I have done, these are my children, I should be able to tell them, do this and do that. And they cannot tell me what to do, even when they perceive me to be in the wrong. And so he's holding on to his position. I think that a girl who is trying to get married and this is the situation will definitely want her dad to give her away in marriage. But if it comes with difficult conditions, and he refuses to accept his own wrongdoing, and then refuses to give me away in marriage, to give the girl away in marriage, is there anything wrong with her approaching his his brothers, or someone else in the family to do this deed for her?
The problem with parents, some men have this. Some men, depending on their upbringing, depending on their exposure to life, depending on what they see, how they see what they see, and interpret it, it pushes their male ego to a point where they think that it's all about them and nothing else. It's all about what they say. Now, what I'm saying is, for people like this, it's not like it's for men in general. There are men that I know that they are so, their ego is so big that they feel that their masculinity, is being degraded if people don't do or listen to or do exactly as they want. Now, for this family, this guy, you have a kid, um, and it's more like he is putting himself before his kid. What transpires or whatever goes between both him and his kid, he should know that one, it was never the kid's fault. There's a problem between him and the wife, and if there's a separation, it cannot cut off the bond between him and his kid unless the kid decides to distance themselves. And if they're distancing themselves, it's for a reason. And there are some times when we obey law of natural cause, like in other words, leave it, time heals everything and they come back. But for him to stand up and say, you know what, I am the man of the house, I am married to somebody else now, I don't care, this is my thing, you are my child, and I tell you, when if you don't do this, well, I'm not going to come to your wedding. I don't think that's the right thing to do, and I don't think that's a good thing to do. I mean, if you are this guy and you're listening to this, um,
Akin, what do you
I
think?
can.
Thank you. Yeah. You're it seems you're muted.
I am on this issue. I'm mostly torn apart.
Hmm.
Not because of maybe because I align or I don't have my view on the matter, but I am aware of so many diverse situations that sometimes can lead to the situation that we have painted. There's actually no straight road. There are different things that have happened in people's lives that lead them to taking certain stands. I am not in support of their stance, and as Tony said, a lot of it is always based on ego. The problem with people is that they are not able to separate issues. You are married to someone, that is your marriage. You have children with the person, those are your children. As much as together you guys are a family or we're a family, if the marriage breaks down, the the spouse on one hand still exists and the children still exist. Now, your ability as a man to be able to separate issues and say, this is my wife that maybe that we are no longer in good terms, and these are my children that are product of that I am responsible for. The key word there is responsibility. It's a different responsibility to a wife compared to that of children. And a lot of people, a lot of men actually live under the illusion that if someone is my child, then that person is my child forever. No. There's legally, your child is still your child up to the age of 18. After 18, that girl or that boy or that human being is legally is a person of his own or our own. And if you are able to cure yourself of that delusion, then you will know that that sense of ownership that you have, that is so paternal and in the African sense, does not apply everywhere. Even in Nigeria, when a child is of a certain age, the child can stand on his or her own. Now, when I come down to the level of it must go my way, I agree with Tony. A lot of it is ego.
Right.
Compound ego. But beyond that, what a lot of people do also need to recognize is the fact that shanking your responsibility does not make you a father. It does not say, oh, you are a wonderful father. It says you are a very bad father. That's what it says.
Maybe a bully.
No matter what went on before, the fact that you renege on your responsibility to your children is what I say is that speaks very badly of you. It does
All
not
right.
say anything positive at all. So people should get off their high horse and say, okay, things might not have gone well. Even with the children, things might not have gone well. Maybe, you have situations where the women actually do a lot of bad talking. There are women who do that. They talk down the man in front of the children. They demonize him. They paint him worse than he actually is. He might be bad, but they paint him worse. So that happens, and the children begin to develop a mindset towards their father, because that's another issue entirely. But irrespective of the perception that the children have of you, you must still be there to carry out your responsibility.
Because what comes to my mind is, what does he have to lose by, for instance, giving his daughter's hand away in marriage just because they haven't agreed to his own terms of, stop expecting me to apologize for what I did. I took my decision and that's it. And then also I think did you want to say something, Tony?
Yeah, no, I was going to address what you just asked. I mean, in that situation where um, whatever that has conspired between a father and a daughter, I don't know at what height that caused the separation. Like, say, if the woman or their daughter was somewhat misbehaving, and it got
No,
to a
no, no,
point
no,
where,
no.
no,
Okay,
I'm just saying there are certain things uh, that might cause that rift between the father and the daughter, and it might not be, but there are certain things that might just cut that gap. And so the question now is, should you because of that should you because of that deny a blessing to your daughter, or give their daughter the rights that she needs? Now remember, we as human have fallen short of the glory of God. That doesn't cut off from God's blessings. And so, as a father, regardless of what your kid does,
Yeah.
like your kid does, yeah, there might not be communication going on. She may have done something so great, so bad, but at that point, when she turns around and recognizes and say, Dad, I am going to walk the aisle and I need you. Now, that is a strong thing. It means, of all that I have done, Dad, I still see you. I still recognize you. Of all that I am as
okay. You're
human,
speaking. You're
Father,
speaking
Lord.
about, no matter, apart from this particular family, right? You're speaking
Yeah,
about.
this family, yeah, apart from that, but even to that man, I'm trying to tell this man, this guy, that, regardless of what, God still looks at us with grace. So, regardless of what's going on between you and your daughter,
Okay,
eventually, when she
that's
calls
a good
you,
one.
turn around and say, "My daughter." Remember the prodigal son. It's the same thing. Of everything that happened, the
Can I
man still, yeah,
so
interjects. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
so okay, you know that the reason we have these conversations is because we really want us to look deeper into our decisions and our actions. Um, because generally, when people are in this mood, they're already in a fighting stance, and they're already in their egos, and nobody wants to give in to the other. But my real question, my true question is this: let's use this particular family again that I talked about, the circumstances. What does that man have to lose? He has nothing to lose, but he has nothing to lose by agreeing to take his daughter to the church, because he now loses the opportunity. He has nothing else, but he now actually loses the opportunity to do that in her life. Then what does the child have to lose? Why don't, in this situation, even if I feel like what my father has done is wrong, I am going to get married. Why don't I give in to whatever it is that he's asking me for? He's asking me um to act like he didn't do anything wrong. Why don't I get my marriage done, and that's it. I have that done. And what about the woman in the situation? Because this is just coming to me now. I think everybody has a role to play in this. What about
Oh,
the woman in the situation? Why can't she step in, even though I've been hurt as the woman? Now my daughter is concerned here. why she can step in too. You know, she can put aside her feelings for that, just for the child's sake. Step in and say, you know what, do what your father has asked you to do and get this done. And then, you know, after that, you can go back to the drawing board and continue your fight. How about that?
No,
So put our
what
egos aside so that we can
yeah,
achieve something.
yeah. I mean, for me, I don't think the problem here should be the ego of a woman. Because if she has been the one taking care of the children,
Mm.
I think it makes sense. And they are always the ones who are in charge of the weddings anyway. Fathers,
You think it makes sense? That's what.
it makes sense for a lot of the things, a lot of the decisions about the wedding, even though they will run it. The truth about it is that he's only a problematic man. You understand me?
Yeah, he's
Who,
already a problematic man. We
yeah,
know
he's
that.
only a problematic man who wants to uh, make sure that the nitty gritty of a wedding goes the way he wants in the life of children that you never participated in their upbringing, or
Oh,
you.
no. In this particular family, okay. Sometimes yes, he hasn't participated.
That's what I'm
But
trying to say.
even in that one,
You're in their life. You see, the person I will you because the way it is now, the little that you painted, maybe I don't have the clear picture, but I think I do have the clear picture, is that this man has not shown forth majority of the time or
oh,
shown up.
this person has actually trained the children through university. But
Okay.
yes, but he just was misbehaving and
Okay.
decided to break his family to even get married to someone else. So that's the situation.
Okay.
But
So
regardless of the situation, actually,
yeah, regardless of the situation, you see, what I say is that everybody needs to come down from their high horse. It's obvious, but more importantly is the man, because your relationship with your wife has failed. You understand me? Which is an indictment of your own character. That's the truth. Any fail, we might not agree to it. We might say, "Oh, the woman
no,
was bad," but didn't you were so that you didn't see the
it
badness.
is. Yes,
You
it's
know,
always it.
it's an indictment, even though it's difficult to accept. But
Yes,
if you cannot make up your relationship with your wife, and then your relationship with your daughter is now being destroyed on the altar of this, or not agreeing to the way you want things to be done and married, then the fingers are at you. All the fingers are pointing at the man, because it is an extension of his failure to me. If you cannot have the easiest people to have a wonderful relationship with are your daughters as a man.
right. I think
Yeah,
so.
they are even much easier to have a
I
relationship with
think so.
as a man than even your sons.
And it starts from you taking the steps because
Yes.
you are the father.
It has gotten to a point where you cannot even, maybe accede or accept the request of your daughter concerning her marriage, then then you are, I mean, I don't understand, because the
Yeah.
truth about it, from the way I see, men's relationship with their daughters are always even better than that with their mom. You understand? Yeah, daughters have
People
better
generally say
relationship
that.
with their, yes. You understand? So for me, it's an indictment of the man's character. And if he wants to mend anything, if he does not mend it now, he has lost that child who is already an adult anyway. He has lost that
Okay.
child for life.
I want to quickly say two things here. So let's do this. Let's look at it this way also. We're talking about a child who is an adult who is still young, a young adult.
Yeah.
Parents have lived life. They've gone through certain experiences. They know certain things about life. And at this point, if a child is acting in their ego and parents are acting in their ego, I would really expect that the parents should be wiser and know better, to be the ones who want to settle any kind of rift, to avoid any kind of rift, so that even if your child is, stubborn, even if you're saying your child is stubborn, at that age, right? Even if let's not even talk about a man who has taken some wrong actions. Even if they misunderstood you at that age and at this point, especially for a matter like this, I do think that it's just wiser to let things chill. And then this child can take an example from you, instead of you always, because they're going to emulate you in the things that you show them. If you show them something wiser like this, in their own decisions as well, they will emulate, they will think about it. You can touch them and you can teach them instead of acting in your pride and your ego, because it does no one any good and everybody loses. And I want to say something. When we talk about family risks like this, going back to the family that we talked about last week, one thing that we may not be paying enough attention to is you get people used to living like this. So that if I am used to not having connection with my family as a child and as a growing adult, let's say somebody is now used to having estrangements. When I get married, it's very possible that I could continue that estranged from my family so that my children will not have a connection to them. And they begin to imbibe this thing of you can always do without your family. So a person who, when you allow rifts to happen in your family, one thing that we may not realize that we're doing is that we're beginning to create a culture. We're creating a culture. I'm not saying that you must remain when there are difficulties, but we have to look at every situation. What can we do to mend this? We shouldn't be taking these things for granted, especially when it's just a matter of ego. So you do this, the child learns that, oh, my father has lived all his life without being in contact with his family, and we were not in contact with them. And tomorrow, when there's a problem with me and my parents, I can just toss them aside and live my life and get married without connecting my new family with my parents. And then my own children will learn that. And then yes.
Just a
And
vicious
this
cycle.
is,
Just a
Become a
vicious
cycle.
cycle. Yeah.
yes. So I just thought that we should, because this
Yeah.
happens in our culture, in our society, and people just overlook these things. When they're quarreling, they're quarreling. When we overlook these things, we're just creating something that we don't like. But then it now becomes like a generational curse. They will now start calling it a generational curse.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we were the one that laid down the culture. You see, the
Yeah.
truth about it is that a lot of people are very selfish.
Yeah.
A
That
lot of our people are very selfish. There's something that there's a saying in my language. It says, I'll translate it. It says, "Ta ba tori shujepo, a tori epo jeshu." Do you understand? If you do not eat the yam because of the oil, you will eat the oil because of the yam. A lot of people just want to, let's say, okay, this is what I want. This is the way I want it to happen. When other people's lives are involved. And what they don't understand is that you can be taking an action and it looks like, okay, I'm the father, I'm the one taking the action. But how is the action impacting on your children, on even on your own siblings, on your own extended family? How is it being perceived?
there's always a ripple effect that we're
Yes,
not conscious
what
of.
impression is it giving them? I'm not saying people should die or people should do things they don't want to do, but things are beyond me, myself, and I. A lot of people have not gotten out of that mold of me, myself, and I. And if you're as an adult who has children, who has a family, who has a wife, who has people depending on him or expecting certain level of conduct and help or whatever from him or her, because it is not just for male. But what I'm trying to say is that people should think deeply about their action. If you say that, okay, because this has happened, take some responsibility and say that the reason why I have a rift with my daughter, or that I'm having a quarrel with my daughter or any member of the family, it own it first that I didn't take the right action when I was supposed to take it. I didn't
Mhm.
say the right things when I was supposed to say it. I didn't do the right things when
Are
I
you
was.
now willing to sacrifice a whole,
Yeah,
like your lineage?
yes, I didn't do. So we must always be interested in corrective measures. So if at any point an opportunity, and opportunities will always provide themselves. If at any point an opportunity opens up for you to correct certain things that have been done in the past that were wrong, okay, like a marriage is an opportunity for you to correct whatever perception, you understand me, anybody has of you in your own immediate family and even in the extended family, because whatever is happening in your family, outsiders who are not immediate
But some
members,
people are just sitting and waiting for the time that, okay, let me see what will happen when the time comes. Okay,
you,
let me see what will happen when the time comes.
they will, whether you are not God, they will marry. And you will not be there,
And
and
you won't be
they will
there.
live happily ever after. It's
You know?
only God.
So yeah. So this
It's
is just
only
a
God that will
call.
determine somebody will not live happy. No human being. So if
Honestly,
you,
what's coming to my mind is this is just a call. This is an opportunity. This is a call for all of us when we're taking decisions, when we're being stubborn, even when we feel that we're right. So we cannot back down on what it is that we want. Let us be more conscious. I know some people are already doing it, but from today, if you hear this and you haven't been conscious of this, just ask yourself, what do I have to lose? What do you have to lose? You have a lot to lose because you're impacting your family members. And what does it cost me? It only costs me my ego or my pride to take a different stance and to do the needful to create unity. So let's begin to do that. And while I was talking, I mentioned people. Okay, so I did talk about creating ripple effects. I'm not trying to say that if you find yourself in a situation where for your well-being you need to take a step back, whether it's for divorce or for family problems. I'm not saying you should not take it. I'm saying that it's almost like you should regard it as a matter of, it's almost like life or death situation. Like I just cannot do without taking this decision before we take it, because some of us do it willy-nilly because my pride is so important. So it has to, seriously, let's begin to consider it as a matter of almost like I am going to lose my mind if I continue like this before we now take a decision like that. And once the opportunity presents itself for things to be made right, I beg,
yeah,
can we
take
can we do,
advantage.
because that is the problem that we have in our society with people who are angry, with people who cannot have good relationships with friends, with partners, with their family. It is anger from something that hasn't been properly sealed on the inside, and you don't know where it's coming from. Honestly, this is the root cause of our problems. Just leaving things unattended and just, it's a careless attitude. I beg you guys, if you hear this, think about it, ruminate on it, and
Don't blow your
On
chance.
another
Don't blow
on
your chance
another
to make
point,
amends.
I'm while Uza was speaking, I just thought of this. Like, this probably must be something that has been ongoing between the man and the woman. I mean, it has nothing to do with the kids, but sometimes certain things can linger to a point where the man or the woman might decide, I'm going to stay for the sake of the children until they are grown or until they have attained certain age of education, and then they're going to leave. So, um, not minding this man's case, I know out there are other similar cases that are close to what I'm just saying.
mhm,
And so when stuff like this happens and the man leaves, the children might frown at it because they have seen daddy and mommy together without knowing actually the internal fight or internal war that's been going on. So
mhm,
this affects the children to a point where they're like, Dad, you cannot do that. Well, the kids are human, that they might at some point not want to talk to you because of how it affects them. Now, after a while, they get back to you. They're getting back to you because they are healing from the trauma of separation between dad and mom. And so If that happens, should not be a reason to aggravate you to a point where you're making a decision not to be there when your children needs the blessing. Akin rightly said it. Your problem with your wife is between you and your wife, but your children are eternally. I mean, once they're 18, they are not yours, but biologically they are still attached to you. They have part of you in them.
We should do everything
And
to
so,
maintain the
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
Everything possible.
yeah, so they are bonded to you. Either way, when they need something, advice, they will seek it through you.
You
They
should
will
be
want to come
available.
to you, whether you have a second wife or a third wife or a
Yeah.
10th wife. How you coach or how you meddle things with your children will not push them away from you entirely, because you are the one that they've always looked up to for advice.
I wanted to quickly say something. I
Yeah.
wanted to take us back a little,
Okay.
and I want to advise men. I want this word is for the men. No one is in control of the woman you marry. You are the one who decided to marry the woman. So it's your responsibility if your relationship with her turns sour. The children have no business with how your relationship with your children, with your wife turns out. And that's why I said initially, separate issues. Your relationship with your wife is different from the relation. Now, with the relationship with your children, because it actually, the failure to be able to be in sync with your children is a bigger failure than the failure of being in sync with your wife.
Yes. I agree. I agree with you.
It's a bigger failure. That's a failure you cannot afford to have.
I agree with you.
So I say to men, please, you might have had a child now, you might still be in marriage, and you might be listening to this. You might be married for 5, 10 years. You might be married for 15 years, and you have teenagers and you have younger ones. I want to give you this advice. Please learn to talk to your children, irrespective of the relationship you are having with your wife, whether it's going up or it's coming down, whether it's hot or it's cold. Learn to talk to your children. Learn to have conversations.
Learn
So
to be
that, I
real.
mean, yeah, so that even if for any reason you and the woman or your wife have to separate, in that same conversation, you can explain to them, even in their little brains, you can explain to them the reason why you and mommy cannot stay together,
You've just brought something to my
so
mind.
that they do not see you. Because see the truth, some women are good. Some women will never badmouth their husband in front of their children at any age in their life. But some women are nasty. They will demonize the man, no matter how good he was as a father and a husband. They will demonize the man, and sometimes,
Yeah. And
most
if you're
times,
listening, we have that topic. We
yeah,
talked about that topic. So please
that
watch it.
turns the heart of the children against the man. But the work, and that's because the work has not been done by the man. He has been Lord and Master bully. He's coming back. Everybody's scampering. Hiding. No. Be friends as be a father to your children, but also be friends to them. Talk to them. It's not because there will be a problem with your wife. No, it is the natural way to behave. It's a natural way to raise children. Your children must not be afraid of you.
You know how it is. People only do what they know. So when people are acting that way, it's because they really don't know. They have no idea how to do this
How to
thing.
do the
So
other
they
way.
resort to. It's the same thing that we have with when men resort to wanting a woman that they can dominate, because they just don't know how to relate with a woman in a way that will have them work together in sync and achieve what they need to achieve. So some men resort to doing this because they just don't know, and it starts from the inside, and this is something that,
I agree. Well,
yeah.
I cannot do I cannot do
Yeah.
them what I have.
Yeah. So we're going to
Because
deal with
those
that
are the
topic.
things leading to this.
Yeah.
It's not something that, it's not even when the fight happened that they
Yes.
separated. It's
It's not
been
today.
there. Yes.
Not
So
today.
it's a template that was laid.
Yeah.
If you've been talking to your children, there's no, even when their mother comes, say, yeah, this one, they say, no, daddy, no, that can never do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is, you want your children to be able to defend you.
But that is if he has access to them, because there are some situations where right from the time the children were babies, the mother has taken that child and started to inculcate these horrible ideas about the father, you know. So anyway, yeah. So sometimes they don't have a choice. Sometimes the man doesn't have a choice. And I wanted to address one thing that we talked about. When we talked about it's an indictment on you if your marriage fails. So here is the thing. It is the truth in the sense that whatever happened, it takes two to tango. Because sometimes we're saying this, my partner was doing this and that. Yeah, that person was doing something to us. But there is a position in which we put ourselves to be there with this person, for that person to have been doing this. First of all, maybe by choosing the person who is like that, because we were hoping that they wouldn't display those things after we got married, right? So even though we're saying yes, it's an indictment, and we don't say this because we know for sure, oh, I am so solid, my marriage isn't going to break up tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just a fact that because we are human, right? So sometimes we've already made that mistake before we got to that point. Maybe we made that mistake, we didn't even realize that this was that important. We should have given it more importance before we got married. So I don't want anyone who is looking at it to start feeling, because somebody spoke, I was speaking with someone a
Yeah.
few weeks ago, and the person did tell me I was ashamed to tell you so. And I'm like, no, because we are human.
Yeah.
Sometimes some things lead to some things, and we just find ourselves there. So it's for us to recognize what was my part in this thing, so that we can do better tomorrow. Is just it.
Now, the reason why that statement was made is that we need people to take ownership.
Yeah. Otherwise, even if you leave this person tomorrow,
Yes,
you can still
you
fall
need
into
to.
the same, because
You
you
know,
haven't recognized
I
the
mean,
things that you need to work on.
yeah, there are things that one has done in his life that
Mm.
you turn around, mistakes that one has made, whether in business, in whatever,
We're all human.
and then you turn around and say, there, I shouldn't have done that.
Mm.
If you cannot take ownership does not mean, oh, you are a failure or you are not
Or you are the cause.
no, it's to recognize, okay, where I made the mistake, okay, this was where, okay, so that if you are 50% of the problem is solved when you can identify where you make the mistake, and it helps you moving forward. It does not make you a bad person, because we are all humans. We make wrong decisions. It's just monumental when it concerns a spouse or a partner.
Yes.
You understand me? So, but we all make one. But the truth about people need to, because lack of ownership is what is making some people misbehave. Always thinking that
Yeah.
it is the fault. All the fault
When
is
I
from
point
the other
like this, how
person.
many are pointing at me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the lack of ownership makes people think, oh, it's the fault of the other person, or it's the fault of all of them. I don't have the part. I didn't contribute. I was just on my own. No. For anything that involves you, either indecision, bad decision.
Let me even give one that we can easily overlook. If someone is disrespecting me,
Yeah.
I can just start saying, this person is disrespecting me. So how can you even blame me for that? Because I said that sometime on one episode, and the person was like, are you saying the woman is at fault? Are you blaming the woman? I said, yes, not that she's the one, but in the sense that, what am I doing that is making this person able to treat me this way? Do you understand?
And is
The
that
person may even be a bully.
Is that the first time also?
The person may even be a bully. Yes, the person is doing something wrong, but I do have a role in it. For instance, one of my roles is maybe that I'm even allowing it to happen. I'm not saying to fight him back.
That you stayed there.
You
could
yes. So everything. So we need to. And then one more thing that I wanted to say. In some cases, do you know that I've known some situations where a marriage can actually break up? Those two people, they are good people. They are good friends. But there's something else that is beyond, that is interfering in that marriage. Something medical. sometimes. So
Yeah.
now when we say take ownership, of course, it doesn't extend to you if you're falling into that. You know, there are some things that are just some things that until we deal with that topic, I will talk about those things. That it's
Okay.
not about what I've done and what he has done.
No, no.
Yeah.
It's
Okay. So
recognizing,
it's just for us
recognizing
to,
your part.
yeah, the biggest part is
Recognizing your
just at every point in time, just know that, just do your best. Do your best and let your conscience know that you're doing your best. And then let us not be worrying, this person is going to think that of me, because I really don't know what's happening behind closed doors in your house. So whatever happens, yes, as long as you take ownership of what's happening in your life. And Aki, I don't know if you have to leave now. I was going to say one of the things I wanted us to say is managing family estrangements. So everybody should play a role, please. If you are married to somebody who is estranged from their family and you come and find this out, please don't overlook it. Do your best to let those children be connected to the people that they're supposed to be connected to. Go beyond what your spouse is doing, unless you've actually seen that those people are poisonous, they're toxic in a way that you're going to get yourselves hurt if you do that. This is something that some of us overlook. We come in that the person doesn't have a relationship with her siblings or her this that. No. And if we are seeing that we are beginning to have a problem with our siblings or our parents or something or our children, hard work needs to start. It shouldn't be taken for granted, because by the time that seed is planted there, it starts to affect and germinate in different ways. It's an orange seed that you planted, you are definitely going to reap some orange fruits. There's nothing that you planted that are going to get you different results.
I wanted
Yeah.
to quickly say that concerning concerning family estrangement, what I will advise people to do is that let there be a relationship between your children or your family members and other members of your family. Now, but what you need to do is that you need to control the exposure of your children. That's all you need to do. But you must let there be a relationship, because every family needs an arm.
Mhm.
And you will never know when that arm will be useful. And you will never know when that arm will be needed. But what you need to do is that before you expose your children to certain members of your family or your wife's family, you must have an idea of who they are, the values that they cherish, because people are born in the same family, and when they leave, they develop different values. You understand? So you must know, and then determine the level of exposure your children see. There are families that you can let your children go and visit. They
Well,
can
what
come
about
and
situations where, in some families there's jealousy,
no,
even
hold on.
between, yeah.
What I'm trying to say, treats every aspect of the values.
Hmm.
Now, there are families you will let your children go and visit, but you will never let them sleep over. There are families you will let come to your house, but they will never sleep over. There are families or relations that your children can go and sleep over, can even spend 1 week, 2 weeks with them. You understand me? So that's what I call exposure. There are families that when they have parties, when they have events, you will make sure that you all go, but it's not going to go beyond that. That is what I call exposure.
Hmm.
You understand me? You limit the exposure. You don't give the same exposure to every family. They can all be brothers.
Hmm.
They can all be sisters, but they have
Mhm.
followed different paths of life. And it
Yeah.
is your responsibility as a
We don't
parent.
get to make excuse ourselves with mental laziness, right? We have
Yeah.
to do the homework
Yes,
to know who.
you have
Yeah.
got to know. You got there are people there are family members that I will never let my children go and sleep in their houses.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And their families I can allow it. You understand me? So it doesn't, I don't hate them, but I don't want to make my work of raising children more difficult.
Yeah. I've
You
even
know,
forgotten one of the biggest things that I had in mind that I wanted to say. In a situation where people, let's say, because that man of last week, he 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 grew up like that. When by the time he became an adult, he stopped communicating with his family. and then he got
Oh,
married, and then he stopped his wife and children from communicating with his family, and then he himself from time to time would withdraw himself from even his own wife and children. Would just, so he did that. So what we don't realize now is, um these kids, they need to be brought up in a way that connections are important.
yeah.
Because if your kids are brought up this way and they get into this mindset where you can always litter people, you can always just drop people and drop relationships, what
Mhm.
happens is that you can create two types of people from this. You can create people who, they don't make connections with other people. They're always littering people.
Yeah,
Even when they get into their own marriage, they're going to distance their own spouses, and they possibly distance their own children too. And then that transfers to the children, and they
yeah,
continue. Or you create a person who is extremely clingy,
yeah.
who people do not even want around because they're always suffocating. And then
Always
the
available.
more you suffocate and the more you are pushed away, the more you will do it and the more you be pushed away. And then you end up being somebody who is miserable because you
Yeah,
suddenly feel like nobody wants me, but you don't
yeah.
realize, and you're saying, all I want to do is to be close. But you don't realize that you are doing it in an unhealthy manner. So and then maybe this person may have issues now forming a romantic relationship, because they now become timid about showing love and affection,
Affection, yeah.
because yes, so we're just creating mental
Problems, yeah,
issues.
problem, yeah.
Yes. And then you don't want this, and this person can become a person who looks at life as the, the world is against me, or if anybody comes close to them, they are expecting the person to leave. They don't have trust in relationships.
Yeah.
So these are the things that we're not paying attention to in our culture. When we just do things carelessly, we have to be doing things from a mental, from consider what can be happening. What is the effect of this thing I'm doing?
Yeah.
And anytime that we don't get to excuse ourselves and just be relaxed in taking decisions without thinking about the effects of what we're doing at
Ex-
every point in time.
Exploit every relationship available to
Yes.
you and your family, but
Yes.
measure the exposure. That's all. Just measure the exposure. Tony,
I just wanted to quickly say something that crossed my mind. We actually have to wrap up in 2 minutes. So one of the thing is, one of the reasons why our relationships break down is because we feel that this person is not treating us in a way that we want. Sometimes we should now remember we are all different, and we understand life differently. We understand we understand how to show love differently. What if my brother or my whoever it is, my cousin, they love me, but the things that they do, they are annoying to me. And then I begin to be like, I have to shift this person away. We also have to be careful of that, because sometimes somebody loves us, but the way that they are showing that love is in a way that is annoying. We feel like this person will not allow me to make my decisions, or different things, right? So let's be careful with that, because relationships are broken over this, where the person is like, I was only trying to do what I felt was in his best interest or in her best interest. And this is how our relationship is rated. So let's remember that everybody is not maturing at the same rate or understanding at the same rate. So the way that they're expressing their love, I think the important thing is, this person's actions, where are they coming from? Because you can discover that it's coming from love, but you don't like the way it's showing. Then that way, okay, I'm just going to, this annoys me, yes, but okay, but I know this person loves me, so that you don't break that relationship with your relative. Yeah. Okay, I think we can close on that, right? Right?
yeah.
All right.
All right. Nice talking to everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for being with us.
Thank
Please
you.
take these things back with you and apply them. Let's put our egos in a drawer and shut the drawer, our pride, and maintain our relationships, because man, this is the wealth in life. That's the true wealth of life. And with that, we close.